So Thranda have just released the Cessna Caravan, and no. Oh yeah, that's much more like a plane I'd fly, isn't it? That looks a lot better. So welcome to episode number 16 of my Just Flying series. And as this plane is fairly new, might as well do a semi-review kind of flight. Well, we'll take off first and see what happens after that. And we're away! So yeah, today's flight, that was Aughhhh where we've just left, and we're going to head north up the coast and go to NZHK Hokitika airfield. We'll have a fairly normal flight for most of the trip, then when we get a bit closer I might try some aerobatics and see what happens. As for the livery, you can get a copy of this because I've uploaded it at explain.org. Well, the one there doesn't have DASA written down the side of it, it's just the more dirty texture, plain dirty texture like this. My plan is I'm going to add a few more bits and pieces and play around with it a little bit, but now I've got a base texture I'll do that slowly and I'll let you have it eventually when it's done, but that might take a while. But if you did want this base one, just have a search on the Aughhhh forum for Nuclear Asbestos Caravan. That will make sense when you see the upload thread. Inside, started doing a little bit with the textures in here as well. Done a bit with the panel to try and give it that sort of aged and weathered look to match the outside. The instruments with this dynamic panel thing that Thranda do, that's great because each one of those are a little separate item that I can age, put some dirt on or possibly even break. That all looks good, kind of in keeping with the feel of the thing that I want. That's a nice OCD layout of panel. So that is the joys of this dynamic panel. You can move instruments around or swap them in and out as you like and have a panel set up the way that you want it rather than just what you're given. Yeah, very impressed with that. As for the rest of the cabin, I'm a little bit in here. Most notably the emergency first aid kit is now an emergency coffee kit. Because of course that would be my first consideration in the event of an accident. Did I spill my coffee? And if the answer is yes, then where can I get a replacement coffee from? But fortunately with this aircraft, you now can get a replacement coffee from the emergency coffee box, so that's all good, very good. That's definitely an improvement on the default one. But yeah, as for this livery, if you did want to have a look what I've uploaded, as I say, it's called the Nuclear Asbestos Caravan at the Explain Aughhhh site, and I also made a preview video for it, which was the last video that I did, which is quite interesting because YouTube have just added a new feature to the Creators Studio thing. Unfortunately it doesn't backdate to any previous videos by the look of things. This is only operates from now, so it's only active on one video, which was that Caravan livery video, and it now tells you what people were searching for on YouTube when they found your video. and I've got a list of 9. I don't know whether other people might have longer lists, because there's less than 100 views on my video, so maybe that's just because it's not been watched very much, but I have 9, and I thought I'd share them with you. So at number 9 on the list of what people were searching for was S-turns. Now, okay, I can vaguely see a connection between that and flying a plane, so yeah, okay, that's fine. Number 8 was Thranda Caravan. Makes perfect sense, no problem there. Next was turns around a point. You have to push it a little bit to try and find a connection with aviation, but it's possible, so yeah, okay. Next on the list we have film developing. Films, I've made a video, maybe there's some kind of connection, possibly. And next on the list of things that people were searching for when they got recommended my video of a X-Plane livery preview was NRI Account. Now, as far as I know, if you look this up on Google, the first result that I got was non-resident Indian. So this is people who are not Indian trying to search for how to set up a bank account in India. And YouTube recommends an X-Plane video. Seriously, YouTube, Next we have Zebronics wireless mouse. Again, I'm a little stuck for a connection here, but top 3. Third was Cessna Caravan. Brilliant, that's good. Then for the top 2, and I should mention here, these are categorized as low, medium and high. So I'm thinking at very worst, if low means one person searched for it, medium must mean 2, and therefore high must mean at least 3 people have searched YouTube for seriously, YouTube, what the fuck? How there are times when I'm kind of glad that I'm getting older and I'll be dead soon. And then apparently the top search item on YouTube that found my video was funny monkey. I don't know whether that's a compliment or not. Yeah. Anyway, pardon me, quick burp. Had garlic meatballs for dinner, and they were lovely. Although, if I'm perfectly honest, they were more like meaty garlic balls rather than garlic meatballs. I wouldn't want to be standing anywhere near me and my breath for the next 24 hours. That was one of my better things that I've cooked for myself. Anyway, the plane. Yeah, it's a bit more expensive than some other GA aircraft, but I suppose it's one of those things. Is it worth it for you? For me, yeah, yeah, definitely is. I love this dynamic panel and being able to move things around. It flies well, looks good. With Thranda, you know they're a very good company, so any bugs they will iron them out. They do listen to the customers, they do look after us, so yeah, there's a lot of good things to say about this. For me, I'm certainly going to get a lot of use out of it, because the kind of flying that I like doing is all these smaller little rural places and bush flying and that kind of thing. This is going to be an ideal kind of aircraft for that. Little stutters as I explain loads in the next tile. Yeah, that's not the plane, that is the explain thing when you cross the boundary and the next tile loads in. Quite often get that little stuttering thing. I know there probably are ways to reduce that or even eliminate it, but if you do know about that, don't bother telling me. Because seriously, I don't help myself when it comes to performance. Because to give you an idea, running on this computer right now is 3 copies of the Folder Explorer, 2 copies of Microsoft Word. I have my Paint Shop Pro open, and on the clipboard of that is still going to be an image of about 2000 by 3000. I have a copy of Firefox open, I've got Google Chrome open, and I'm live streaming a football match on a separate screen. So yeah, I don't really help myself with performance, and although that probably does answer a question about how well does this aircraft perform with frames per second, and I never actually look at the frames per second, so I can't really answer that. I just go flying, and if things work, then that's great. And if a fairly complex aircraft like this can run okay with all that other shit that I've got going on this computer, it's probably fine, isn't it? Or it certainly is for me anyway. But yeah, as I say, for what I want to use it for, this is going to be very good, I think. So I love that little sort of bush flying and South the Orland and that kind of thing. And it does a reasonable speed to get between airports, but then when you get to your destination, especially if it's a challenging approach, you'll be coming in at quite a reasonable speed. The roll rate and the handling, that's all fairly slow, so that's going to be quite hard work. That will add to the sense of panic and therefore the sense of fun, so that makes it all very good as far as I'm concerned. And if you can actually manage to land somewhere, it'll stop in quite a short distance. It's got reversers to help as well, so yeah, for a little bush flying and small and dangerous airfields, I think this is going to be a lot of fun. I'm going to enjoy that. And I don't think I'm going to survive every landing in it, but I like the idea that I'm not always going to make a perfect landing everywhere. Andrew have said they are going to update things, get it all explained 12 ready as well, so I could well say I'll be using this for quite a few years. It will be showing up in a few videos in the future, no doubt, so you can see the progress of the panel and the painting as it goes along. Getting a bit closer to Hokitika now and our destination, which I did go to once in real life. I was on the coach tour at the time. We'd stayed for the night at Greymouth, just north of here. And and then headed south down the coast the next morning, so this was first stop of the day. And I remember taking a little walk down to the coast, and it being grey, overcast, blowing a gale, and very rugged. Oh, quite nice though, glad I visited the place. Right then, so as we are getting a bit closer, if I do something stupid now, we can probably still make it to our destination anyway. And let's try a few mild aerobatics and see what happens, shall we? As I said, the roll rate on this is very slow indeed. Get round eventually. It's certainly no fighter plane when it comes to the handling. We appear to have broken the artificial horizon, but I was expecting that to happen anyway, so no problem there. And bleed off a load of speed and see what happens when we stall it. Yeah, not very much happens actually. That was quite easy to deal with. Yeah, if you watch one of my previous videos, you remember me saying that I do have some real world flying experience. I used to have a license. And I'd started flying at Coventry Airport over here in the UK with the Piper Tomahawk. And stalling one of those, you very quickly, one of the wings will drop, you'll be pointing at the ground, spinning, and there's a whole lot of stuff going on, which is actually quite good fun when you get the hang of it. But then when I moved flight schools to the one at Wellsbourne, I was flying a Cessna 152, and stalling that, it's really docile, nothing really seems to happen. I don't know whether that's something to do with the tail layout or the high wing versus the low wing, but certainly with this Caravan, with the high wing, the tail set up, it's similar to the 152 in design, just a lot bigger, isn't it? So maybe it shouldn't be a surprise that it's a fairly similar docile kind of stall. Gently sink towards the ground. Anyway, so here's Hokitika, which if you don't have this in your scenery collection, you probably should, because it's lovely. Although I can't claim too much credit for it, because this was actually a conversion I did of an FS9 or FSX scenery by a gentleman called Robin Corn. He's also responsible for all the little houses that I fill in surrounding areas in lots of other scenery. So I don't think he's ever made a specific X-plane scenery, but he is responsible for New Zealand looking a lot better than it would otherwise. So I don't know if you'll ever see this video, Robin, but thank you. And I've converted a few other ones of his. Speaking to him, he's a very nice guy actually. But it's not just the airfield here, because he's also, well, he's done the custom buildings at the airfield. There's that factory over on the right. Then down in the town there's some custom buildings down there as well. So there's actually quite a lot going on in this scenery. It's all very nice. Though as for landing, not had too many flights yet, so I haven't quite got the hang of this, because I think there is a knack of you need to judge exactly how high you are when you're flaring, and if you pull the power off too quickly you just drop like a brick. So there does seem to be an art to landing this properly, and I've not quite got the hang of it yet, so let's see what happens. A bit high. Nope, that was a fall onto the runway, I think. Have another look. I don't think that was particularly brilliant. Yeah, started to flare too high, then just ran out of airspeed and sank onto the ground. Yeah, never mind, still learning. I'll get the hang of it eventually, and I'll enjoy practicing. So, welcome to NZHK Hokitika Airfield. And as I said, this was a semi-review flight of the aeroplane. Yeah, I can sum this up by saying I'm very happy with it so far. Looks good, flies good, very happy with the purchase. I suppose it's up to individuals whether you think it's worth the price for you and how much use you're going to get out of it, but it certainly is for me, and I could happily recommend it to somebody. Well, let's park up outside of Robin's Custom Built Terminal, and that will probably do for us for today then. So that was episode number 16 of Just Flying. And as I've been painting Cessna Caravans for the last few days instead of making any airfields, I'll probably best get back to some scenery building again. So, till next time, see you soon.